Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. We are so thrilled to have each and every one of you join with us here today. I'm Charanya, Product Manager at Zoho Analytics, and I will be your host for the day. Now, joining with me today are my colleagues from the product management team. We have Vaijayanti and Santosh. We have planned this session in such a way that we will have an elaborate Ask the Expert session at the end of this webinar, where we will be opening a panel of members from the product management team who will be taking up and addressing all your questions. 2023 has been yet another interesting year for us at Zoho Analytics. As much as we are excited for the next year, we are equally glad to reflect on the major success that this year has been. So, in this session, we will be showcasing the 40 major advancements that we have introduced this year that makes Zoho your go-to analytics platform. Most of you might be already familiar with Zoho Analytics, but however, we might also have new users as a part of this webinar. So for them, we will be quickly seeing an overview about what Zoho Analytics is. Moving on, we will see all the categories in which we have updates. Next up, we will be seeing the 40 major features in 40 minutes. And at the end, we will have a quick summary of the discussed features, and then we will open up the floor for questions. Zoho Analytics has been in the market for more than a decade of time. We have been known for one of the early products to be providing analytics service in the cloud BI space. We are currently catering over 16,000 paid organizations with a user base of over 2 million users who are present globally in and over 150 plus countries, and the list just keeps growing. Now, in this slide, let's quickly see the various stages of data analysis operations that are available in Zoho Analytics. So, to start any analysis journey, you need to bring in your business data into analytics platform. For that, we are providing integrations for over 250 plus data sources that are broadly classified as databases, data lakes, your business app connectors, to your local files and feeds, and a lot more. Once you bring in your data, you will then start preparing and processing the data. And once that's ready, you will be moving on to the visual analysis layer. Here, we offer pre-built reports and dashboards for business app connectors. So all that you have to do is just authenticate your service and you're good to go. And the next is AI-powered feature, which is Ask Zia. So Ask Zia is a chat-like interface where you can ask questions and get insights and reports that are generated instantly. It is built on top of technologies like natural language queries and natural language processing. We also offer a very intuitive drag and drop UI, and we currently provide over 50 plus inbuilt visualizations, and we keep on updating the list. Next is the collaboration part. Here is where you bring in your business stakeholders and provide them with fine-grained access permissions. You can also give them a customized set of access permissions using custom roles. You can then intuitively visualize your reports and dashboards in the form of data storytelling. And not just that, you can also host your data in our microsite, which is an analytical portal that serves your business. As you can see now, our team has worked on taking a well-rounded approach to bring updates for you this year, right from data import through visual analytics, all the way to admin and white labeling. We have got some amazing updates for you. Now, please note that this session will also be following the same format that we are to discuss. All right, with that brief introduction about the product, let's move on to check the 40 most sought after features of this year. Before getting into the various categories, let's first see the game-changing functionality that we have introduced. This year saw a boom in the generative AI technology, which evidently made a huge impact on today's business. Zoho Analytics immediately captured the effect it made on the BI sector and introduced OpenAI's ChatGPT capabilities to Zoho Analytics. Let's quickly see the different enablers in the product. First up, we have formula generation. This is usually the trickiest part where users spend hours and hours of labor into constructing the right formula. Now, here is where we have introduced ChatGPT's functionalities. As you can see, you can now type in queries in natural language. And with the help of prompt engineering, the solution will be given to you with the appropriate syntax. Next up, another game-changing functionality is that we have introduced ChatGPT in query table creation as well. So now, business users need not worry much about the knowledge of query languages. This functionality is also similar to the formula suggester that we saw now. You can type in the question and the result will be generated within seconds with the help of appropriate syntax. Moving on, we have finding external data sets. So there are scenarios where users need to blend their business data with the external public data sets. For example, as you can see, users might need to get the state-wise tax across different states, or even they would like to get the current currency conversion rate. So for these users, they can now fetch data from the external sources within Zoho Analytics interface itself. This is yet another input query prompter, and the results will be populated in the preview grid. Moving on to the last one, synonym suggester. So I'm sure most of you might be already using Ask Zia. If you need to expand the adoption of Ask Zia, you need to train Zia with the right set of synonyms, which now effectively makes the end user's experience very easy. Now for that, we have introduced ChatGPT to give suggestions for the synonyms of the column names. As shown here, we have got multiple relevant suggestions for province column, such as country, territory, and a lot more. This functionality will now ensure the ease of consumption of insights and reports. All right, folks, that's what we had for the ChatGPT integration. Moving on to the BI stack, we will get started with the data import. Zoho Analytics enables you to import data from a wide range of data sources, and we are always committed to add more data sources to this list to make our platform widely adaptable on a whole. So in that context, first we have few native integrations with business applications. So with native integration, the process of setting up an integration with the business application becomes very simple and seamless. All you have to do is go through a couple of steps and authenticate your business application account, and you're all set for the analysis. So as you can see, we have Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google Analytics 4, Typeform, Jotform, and a lot more that's been introduced this year. Which each of these connectors, we provide 100 plus connector specific pre-built reports and dashboard that help you analyze your key metrics faster. Additionally, you can also customize your views by creating reports on your own with the drag and drop interface. You can also blend data from multiple business applications to be analyzed in a single report. Now, by which you are enabling users to perform cross-functional analytics. And finally, you can also utilize the domain-trained ML capabilities to better extract data insights. All right, so with that, we will quickly be seeing one of the pre-built dashboard that we have for Google Analytics 4. So as you can see here, we have the demographic dashboard from Google Analytics 4. We have a couple of important metrics lined up over here on the top as widgets, which shows the page views, sessions, users, new visitors, and returning visitors for this month. They are followed by reports showing the daily trend of page views and sessions. As you scroll down, you can find the age-wise users by the user type. Also, you have a summary graph based on the demographic. So similarly, you can find such pre-built reports and dashboards available for all the other integrations as well. So with that, we have looked at the new business app connectors that we have onboarded this year. Now, not just that, we've also brought enhancements to some of our existing connectors. So here we have a lineup of various business applications in which we have brought enhancements. We have new modules added in integrations like Zoho Projects, Instagram, Google Ads. Similarly, we have new fields added in Zoho Forms, Zoho Projects, and Campaigns. We have also retained the source application's currency and date formats for Smart Sheets, Zoho Sprints, and a lot more. All right, moving on to the large-scale data imports. This is crucial for enterprise customers who have their business data in databases, lakes, and warehouses. We have been supporting a range of traditional databases from big scale vendors like Amazon's RDS, Redshift, Athena, to Google's BigQuery, Cloud SQL. Similarly, a wide range of services from Microsoft Azure. Likewise, we have been supporting over 50 databases that are hosted both in local and cloud servers. Apart from this, we also have JDBC and ODBC drivers. So if you have databases that are running on top of these drivers, you can then seamlessly integrate them with Zoho Analytics. Now, up on this list, we have introduced Microsoft's Azure Data Lake, SharePoint, and Cosmos DB. There are a couple of other database supports. As you can see, MongoDB's Atlas Data Federation, DigitalOcean, Amazon's Lightsail. As I mentioned before, we will actively keep growing this list in the future. Next up is the Live Connect functionality. So Live Connect is nothing but the direct querying option where we only just store the metadata information like the table name, column name, and the data will be in live sync with your source table. We have been lately supporting this functionality for all our databases. Up on that list, for this year, we have Vertica, Greenplum, Yugabyte, SAP HANA, Informix, and Dinodo. All right, moving on to the enhancements in databases. We have now supported work groups in Amazon Athena. So members of different work groups can now individually authenticate Zoho Analytics and utilize its functionalities. Next up, SSL for MongoDB. We have been planning to support SSL, which is the secure socket layer technology for all our databases. And on that list, we have now enabled this feature for MongoDB. You can enable this functionality in your authentication screen. You have the option to proceed with or without certificate as well. Moving on, we have incremental fetch. So now we understand that importing massive data sets can be time consuming. So with incremental fetch, you no longer need to fetch all your data into Zoho Analytics during every import. We have streamlined the process such that you can efficiently bring in only the new data from your source. Now, this means quicker sync intervals, especially for those of you dealing with substantially large data sets. You can now save time and ensure your analytics experience is as smooth as possible. This functionality will be available in your data source settings as well as during your import scheduling process. Please choose the only new or modified records as shown in the screen, and please give the relevant column based on which you need to bring in the new or modified data from your source into Zoho Analytics. Kindly note that this functionality is supported for all the databases. Moving on, we have the Notify to feature. Earlier, import failure notifications for scheduled database imports were automatically sent to the account admin. Now, we have introduced the flexibility to decide who gets the import failure notification. You can send the notifications to specific individuals or to a group of admins or even create a custom list. This enhancement is all about giving you the control and ensure that the right people are informed when it matters the most. All right, folks, with that, we are now moving on to the data modeling and preparation layer. We will first see the updates from the query table editor. We have now made the query table creation even more easier by providing SQL queries grammar-based suggestions for keywords, table name, and column names, as and when you're typing in the query. As you can see in the example, suggestions are given as and when you're typing the keyword select and from. It is also showing relevant column names and table names. Next is the formula-based lookup column. You can now make formula columns as a lookup column when you establish a relationship between different tables. As shown here, you can just right-click on the formula column and find the Change to Lookup Column option. All right, folks, let's quickly see the enhancements in the data modeling layer. We have email function that helps you convert text columns in email format to email data type. Similarly, we have round off duration function. This helps you to round off the duration values to a given duration scale. Say, for example, it could be rounded off to seconds, minutes, hours, or even days. We now automatically detect the currency data types and symbols in the formula columns. And finally, we have now appended date with the file name of the backup files. Hence, you can now maintain versions of the backup files based on the date stamp. With that, we are now moving on to the next interesting layer, which is the visual analytics. First off, I would like to start up with a very interesting announcement of introducing a most sought after visualization, which is the tree map. So tree map is a visualization that is composed of differently sized rectangles that represent your data values. So for example, if you are analyzing sales among different products, the largest rectangle will now represent the product of highest sales, and the smallest rectangle will represent the product with the least scales. You can also choose to group the rectangle based on the region. Hundreds of such use cases with this chart type that business users can customize it to their needs. Next is an interesting update from the charts. So imagine you have this massive data set and you're trying to make a sense of it all. So here is where the overview effect comes in. Now, instead of being overwhelmed by the entire data set, you can select a specific region on the overview chart and zoom into it. So that's basically like having a magnifying glass for your data. This feature will allow you to focus on the details such as a spike in the sales or anomalies in a trend or basically any data that matters the most. Next up is the scroll bar effect. This is yet another game changer for reports with large data sets. Traditionally, we used filters to navigate through the extensive data, but not anymore. So imagine this, you are comparing data and instead of filling the view with filters and everything, you can simply move the scroll bar to your desired data point. Now it's that easy. This feature makes comparing data points a breeze and adds a level of dynamism to your reports. All right, this is another major enhancement in our chart view. We have introduced combo chart with stacked bar. So it's perfect for grouping metrics and to create a single stack that neatly represents different categories in your report. Like for example, in your sales data, you can group total sales, total cost, and profit more logically by marking them as different types in the stacked bar. This not only enhances clarity, but also provides a more insightful view of your data. All right, next is an interesting feature, which is the introduction of preset filters. It's a time saving feature that lets you define and save combinations of multiple user filters. So, if you're tired of manually selecting values for each and every user filter, you can just simply apply the desired values in every user filters and save them by setting a unique name. Now, you can effortlessly switch between filters by saving time and streamlining your dashboard experience. As you can see here, I have preset for this year Canada, this year US, this year India. Now, this will have the configurations for all the filters available on top. I can toggle between them to filter the dashboard for the preset values. Moving on, we've got a couple of fantastic updates on the widgets to share. So, widgets are nothing but the key performance indicators which can be used to share important data values in a dashboard. Now, we have added forecasting functionality to the widgets. So, when you group data by date column, you can create widgets with the forecasted value. Whether you want insights for the current period or the upcoming one, it's all now in your fingertips. Now, not just that, we've also introduced a couple of more functions to the widgets to make it even more effective. Additionally, you can now restore widgets directly from trash. This makes your widget management experience more smooth. Moving on, we will be seeing all the enhancements on the pivot table lane. So by default, Zoho Analytics automatically adds subtotal for individual columns and grand total for all the rows and columns in your pivot table. You also have the flexibility to disable these totals when you don't need them, or you can even change their positions. Earlier, this was provided only for the data that is dropped in the column. With this enhancement now, you can now hide the totals when your records are present in rows as well. With the introduction of this feature, now you get a complete control over how you want your pivot table to look and behave. Next up, we have what if analysis over forecasted data. This is yet another very interesting feature for all the business users out there. So, what if analysis enables you to do powerful scenario based analysis on your data. It enables you to measure the difference in outcome when one or more input variables changes. So with this, you can visualize the business impact that can arise from changes well ahead of time. Now, we have made this functionality even more effective by providing forecasting over the what if metric column. You can not just only see how the data behaves in different scenarios, but now you also get a sneak peek of how your forecasted values will change based on the input variables. All that you need to do is enable the treat as what if forecasting checkbox while setting up your forecasting. Moving on, we have now introduced variables in window functions. So now you can dynamically change the window interval of the calculation based on the variable's input and observe the impact on the visualization. Here in the example, we have the window sum calculation for the sales data, and you can calculate the sales based on the dynamic window interval by using variables. Next up, Zoho Analytics now supports multi-level aggregate formula creation. This allows you to create nested aggregate functions while creating aggregate formulas. As shown in the screen, you have MTD and sum that are nested into the same formula. All right, moving on to the enhancements in visualization. We have introduced log and square root scales in chart. Earlier, we had only the linear scale in chart. As we analyze data set with extreme values, there isn't one size which can fit all use cases, right? So think about the data set of COVID stats, where you will have millions of active cases but thousands of deaths. So when you plot this in a single chart, the difference in the scale will be huge. Now, this is where the log scale comes in by adjusting the values and making it more readable. Similarly, we've also introduced square root scale. This is also used in cases like the Pareto analysis. So now, with these updates, you can elevate your visualization experience and consume large data with utmost ease. As you can see here, you can change these in the chart settings. Under range and interval, you have the scale section, you have linear, log, and square root. All right, another quick update that we have introduced is the wildcard filter option in tabular view. So now you can filter view by specifying filter criteria to match the strings in the tabular view. So for example, if you want the result set to contain only stationery, or if you want the result to exactly match with the grocery, you can give multiple and or combinations that should match with the resultant data. Moving on to the next subcategory, which is the augmented analytics. So any feature that uses AI-based capabilities is what we call as augmented analytics. So under augmented analytics, we have Ask Zia and Zia Insights. Let's quickly see what they are. So Ask Zia is a chat-based interface where users can ask questions in natural language, and the results will be in the form of insights and reports. Next is Zia Insights. It is again powered by our AI technology, which is Zia, and it will be giving you the important business insights and helps you understand the relationships in the data on top of the visualization that you have on hand. So basically, you need not necessarily sit and decode the key metrics from the visualization. Let's quickly see the updates from these two that we have for this year. So first up is a very interesting update. This is a game-changing functionality that we have recently supported, where we have established a seamless integration between Ask Zia and Amazon's Alexa. This functionality empowers you to interact with your data using the simplicity of voice commands. With Ask Zia now intelligently synced with Amazon's Alexa, you can now effortlessly check your business KPIs. So, for example, you can get the pending invoices from the last working day, or inquire about the number of shipments to a specific location, like, for example, Texas. Now, not just single KPI value, you can ask Alexa to tell the sales performance of three different regions from different reports. This functionality is now achieved by Zia, which collates insights from multiple reports and effortlessly shares it with Alexa. So now you can directly command Alexa to access reports and ask questions as commands, and the results will be given to you in a similar way as how we get results in Zoho Analytics. Now, the interesting part here is that not just insights, Ask Zia can also read and explain the reports that you get from the queries as well. So, this functionality is now supported by a chart narration algorithm. Currently, this feature is available only in the USDC. Following up with another important announcement, Ask Zia is now available in French. It is currently serving the beta version. So from now on, the query field and the auto suggestions of Ask Zia will also be available in French. We also have plans on supporting more languages for Ask Zia to enhance its adoption in the future. All right, we'll quickly see what data synonyms are. So we have an existing feature where you can set synonyms for the column names of the tables. Setting these synonyms will train Zia for the same. And when you are asking questions in Ask Zia, it will still give the result for the respective column. Now, adding to this functionality, we have now introduced data synonyms, where you can give synonyms for every unique cell value. Now, as shown in the screen, you can set data synonyms as online shopping for online store. Similarly, cold call can be termed as just call and generate results in Ask Zia. Now, to ensure security, We have restricted this feature for columns that are marked as personal data and for remote databases. All right, folks, let's quickly see the enhancements in Ask Zia. So first up, we have drag and drop reports into dashboard. You can now drag and drop reports created in Ask Zia interface into the dashboards directly. This tremendously enhances user experience. Ask Zia can now understand geosynonyms such as Alpha 2 code and Alpha 3 code. For example, United States can be given as USA and India can be given as IND. It will still give the right answers. All right, we are now moving on to the Zia Insights updates for this year. First up, we have Explain Data. So this feature is your go-to for gaining valuable information related to a specific data point in your report. So for example, let's say you have a chart displaying sales across this year by week. Now, say that you want to dive a bit deeper for weekly sales. You can go ahead and select the week 23 of 2023 data point and click Explain Data as shown in the screen. You will now get a detailed breakdown of sales for that specific week on the right. So this feature has been very much appreciated as it has helped businesses to identify the significant changes or anomalies in their data effortlessly. All right, Zia Insights are now trained to give results based on the filtered data from the legend. So for example, as you see in the screen, if you are to exclude certain users from the total sales by users view, the insights will also be adjusted to provide metrics only for the filtered users in the view. Moving on, we have static states in maps. So not all businesses will run on a global economy. So for example, businesses that focus on a specific region in a country or a state, we have introduced static states in maps. So this feature helps business users to show stats only for the specific states within a country. So whenever you open a report, you don't have to manually change the settings. All the configurations that you have set will be retained. Hence, if your business data consists of data that is captured from different cities, we have introduced another submenu in addition to the country option to choose the states for which you want to see the data as shown in the screen. We are choosing Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and the map is updated to show results for those states. Now you can contextually use these maps based on the states and share it with individuals of your choice. All right, folks, let's dive into one of the crucial layers in any BI application, which is the sharing and collaboration. Now, I want to kick things off with a game changer, which is Tableau in Zoho Analytics. Now, I know some of you might be wondering why we are talking about Tableau in Zoho Analytics webinar. Let me quickly spill the beans. So, in a dynamic landscape of analytics, there is a concept that's been gaining traction for a while, which is the BI fabric. Analytics and BI applications are used across various departments in organizations. And now, the traditional one size that fits all approach does not cut it anymore. So, for example, take a large enterprise with multiple departments. Now, sales might be using Tableau, marketing might be using Zoho Analytics, and the finance department might be diving into Power BI. Now, do you see the challenge here? So, here is where we come in. We are one of the first players in introducing this concept in Analytics portal. So, now this allows you to seamlessly bring visualizations from different BI applications into a single comprehensive view. We have kicked things off with Tableau integration, and the plan is to expand to other popular BI applications as well. As you can see on the screen, in our portal builder, you can drag and drop visualizations from Zoho Analytics, and also you can bring in Tableau visualizations. So this portal is like a microsite builder. and you can embed visualizations from both Analytics and Tableau. You can seamlessly integrate Tableau visualizations by just authenticating your Tableau account, and you're good to go. All right, folks, let's move on to the next game changing feature, especially for all the administrators out there. Custom roles, as the name suggests, it allows organization admins and account admin to create a customized set of permissions and assign a role name of their choice. For example, you can create a role especially for a data analyst. So with these roles being created, now they can be assigned to multiple individual users. Now the difference this feature brings is that at workspace level, we only had a system defined role, which is the workspace admin. Now, every permission of a workspace admin is break down, and only a specific set of permissions can be given to different levels of users in your organization. Now, as you can see in the screen, we have three levels of permissions. First, we have all dashboards, all reports and dashboards, all data reports and dashboards. Based on that, you can give multiple levels of permissions like the create permission, data permissions, design permissions, and below you will also have the sharing and collaboration, interaction, and publishing permissions. Moving on to the next feature, we have now established a direct sharing functionality with Zoho Click. So Zoho Click is a communication platform similar to your Slack and Microsoft Teams. You can enable this option in the organization settings, and once that's done, it enables users to send reports to any individuals or click groups within the organization seamlessly. We've also given option to share it in a variety of file formats. Please note that we have just kickstarted with Zoho Click. You can expect this functionality for other popular messaging services as well in the near future. Next up, let's see the associating views and groups with users and viewers. Now note that while adding new users or viewers into your Zoho Analytics organization, it will not give access to all the visualizations. We have a highly user-friendly, at the same time, a secure sharing model that allows you to share relevant views with the right set of people. Now, to enhance this functionality, Zoho Analytics now prompts admins to associate views or add them to groups when they add new users into the organization, as shown in the screen. You have views and groups. You can also select the respective workspaces and associate views or groups to the individuals. All right, folks, with that, we are now moving on to the major UI and UX updates for this year. So if you have a design eye for all your visualizations, then these updates are going to be very interesting for you. We have made certain significant enhancements that will help you to easily create visualization and consume data. So first up, we have updated the email schedule. Earlier, you can check the scheduled email reports on top of a view by navigating to the Edit Email Schedules option. There, you will find all the schedules in that workspace, irrespective of the view on top of which you're checking. Now, with the current update, you will only see the email schedule created on top of that report that you're viewing. Additionally, we have provided a common settings in the workspace to list all the email schedules that are created in that specific workspace. We have also enhanced the UI by giving multiple tabs based on users, views, and by schedule names. This increases the usability and helps users to manage the life cycle of every email schedules. All right, we have seen a major update in our query table UI last year. With an enhancement to that, we have now updated the query table font and color codes. This made the query table creation process more interesting and clear. Similarly, we have also updated our formula creations font and color code. Now, the reason for these updates is that defining logical expressions can contain multiple levels of nested formulas. So, a clear segregation and identification can help businesses to reduce the manual labor. At the same time, it also enhances their experience of the creation process. All right, we have made a set of enhancements in our dashboards. For example, you can easily toggle between the tabs in the same dashboard, and you can also add new tab by hovering over the plus icon. And in terms of card styling, you can now adjust the settings of radius and margin with higher values. Earlier, the scale was limited. Now, it has higher ranges that you can configure with. Moving on, let's see the updates in the admin section. First, let's talk about a game changer in the security and data confidentiality, which is the workspace level IP restriction. Now, we all know how crucial it is to control access and secure your data. Previously, IP restrictions were set at organization level, but now we have enhanced its capability by allowing you to set restrictions at workspace level as well. Now, you can set individual IP range for every workspace. This will allow you to fine tune your security settings based on your unique needs. Additionally, you can also configure IP restrictions for a specific workspace and still choose to retain the organization wide settings as well. There are much more flexibilities that we have introduced. We have made this enhancement in such a way that it's all about giving you the control you need and the way you need it. Next up, we have the REST API support. So as you can see, we have supported REST APIs covering major operations in Zoho Analytics, from imports to modeling, query table actions, sharing and collaborations, and trash management. So for example, we have a couple of batch imports under imports category, and under data preparation, we have given various lifecycle managements for formula column, aggregate columns, and finally the folder management. Similarly, in query table, you have the management lifecycle such as create and update. And in the sharing and collaboration part, you have the get shared details for views. You have multiple options for public views and also the remove access for private views. And finally, we have the trash management lifecycle for different trash views like the get trash views, restore trash views, and delete trash views. All right, folks, with that, we have come to the final category of updates, which is the white label. First up, we have enhanced the sub-levels in the navigation menu of the portal. So a portal is a microsite where you can neatly compile and accumulate visualizations. Previously, the portal navigation menu was a bit limited, but now we have enhanced it to have up to 3 levels of pages in the portal menu. Now, this essentially helps you to publish a full-fledged analytical content in the portal. Moving on, we have trusted domains in white label. So we have introduced a new tab, which is the trusted domain. Here, you can configure the domains in which users can embed the Zoho Analytics reports and views. You can enable this in the white label settings page. As you can see, you can specify up to hundreds of such domains. All right, folks, with that, we are coming to the close of the session. So first, let's see the summary of the day. We started off with ChatGPT's integration with Zoho Analytics, and then we saw new connectors and new databases with their enhancements. And then we saw a couple of new features, which are the incremental fetch and notify to functionality. Next up, on the data preparation layer, we saw query table grammar suggestion. And then we saw how to mark a formula column as a lookup column. And then finally, we saw the enhancements in the data preparation layer. Moving on, we saw a major set of updates in the visual analytics layer, starting with our new chart type, which is the tree map, to different effects such as overview and scroll bar in charts. And then we saw preset filters in user filters. And then we saw a couple of enhancements in widgets and pivot table. We came across how a what-if analysis can change your business prediction outcome, to variable support in window function, to all other enhancements in visualizations. Then in the augmented category, We saw a game changer of introducing Ask Zia in Alexa with a new language support for French in Ask Zia. We also saw how to set up synonyms for data values. We then moved on to see enhancements in both Ask Zia and Zia Insights. We then finally saw static states in maps. Moving on to the collaboration layer, we saw how to integrate Tableau views and Zoho Analytics view into a single place. And then we established custom defined roles for users and also shared views via click to different users. And finally, in that layer, we associated users with multiple views and queues and groups. Onto the UI and UX layer, we saw the new UI management of email schedule, and we saw changes in the font and color code of query table and formula column. We then saw a couple of updates in dashboard UI. Moving on to the final layer, which is the white labeling, we saw how you can set up to 3-level navigation. And finally, we also saw how to set up trusted domains. And then in the admin layer, we saw workspace level IP restrictions and all REST APIs. Thank you for joining and have a wonderful holiday ahead.